Hello everybody, how are you all doing? So, welcome to today's class. Let's get started. So, yesterday, did you manage to watch the video or practice? Okay, that's good. Now, let's begin to some basic concept. All right. Now, what's the difference between schema, and database? A database is like a blank room. Okay. Within this room, we can have structured, semi-structured, or non-structured data. Think of the database as a main folder. Okay. So it is a main folder. Um, and inside it, we have smaller folders called schema. Okay. So it is a database. And inside this, there schema. The schema defines the structure of the database. Database can store three types of data: structured, structured, semi-structured, and non-structured. So, structured database is data organized in tables and columns, like rows in a spreadsheet. For example, like student names, ages, roll number, etc. And the data that doesn't fit neatly into rows and columns but has some organization are semi-structured data like photos or JSON files. And non-structured data they have no predefined format like HTML, logs, etc. Structured and organizing data is typically responsibility of a database administrator. Developers may also handle non-structured data, especially in coding context. In SQL, database and schema are often interchangeable. Okay, now let's use an example. Here we can use the database use practice database, then create database if not exist. This command creates a database named db1 and you can refresh to check its creation. Okay. And drop dropping database like database db1 which we have created, it will drop the database. Okay. It deletes the database. So always be cautious when using the drop function. In SQL, you can create schema instead of create database. Okay. So you can write create schema if not exist in database one. Similarly, you can drop a schema like drop schema db1. Okay. Now, duplicate data can occur if you execute the same command multiple times. To handle the duplication, you can use the delete command. So for example, Uh, Here you can write delete from students where phone is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, limit 1. This deletes one duplicate row where the phone number matches our input. Okay. So the limit clause specifies how many rows to delete. For example, delete from students where roll equals 1, limit 2. It deletes two duplicate rows with the roll now 1. Uh, you can also use describe students to view the table columns properties. In SQL-free versions, detailed properties like data type digits may not display. For comprehensive information, use the paid version of MySQL workbench. Okay, now let's consider a graphical user interface scenario. Okay, so its purpose, like the purpose can be customers input personal data. Okay, so suppose here is then it is like customer information like one, two, three, four, etc. So these inputs are stored in a database and the graphical user interface displays how many customers are registered, like one, two, three, up to 100. Okay. When registration count reaches 100, the system displays 10 instead of 100. Even when you click the database, the record count shows 10 instead of 100. The possible cause can be like issues in data type used for storing the registration count. Likely, the limit is incorrectly set to two digits instead of the required number, for example, 3 or more. Okay, now for this, you can use the previous function describe the table name. It will display the structure of the table, including the column names, data types, etc. Then check the data type of the column stored in the count. If it is set to two digits, increase it to three digits or more. Then update the column data types if required, like alter table function or modify function. Okay. SQL commands are not case sensitive. So here you can see, for example, select from student where name is Ram. It will retrieve results for both Ram and Ram. So Oracle SQL is case sensitive for data. If the data table is stored as RAM, you must query it exactly the same way. So the alphabetical case sensitive should be properly monitorized. So you can write select from student where name RAM. You can bypass the restriction by using functions like uh, while lower, then you can write select from student where lower, then in bracket you can write name and then equals to the name you are searching for. It will then search for the lowercase letter. Okay. Now let's talk about some logical operators like and or. So and retrieves data that meets all specified conditions. For example, fetch a student's name, Ram, living in Delhi. Okay, so you can write select from students where address is Delhi and name is Ram. Or you can use or. It can retrieve data that meets any of the conditions. For example, fetch students who are either Ram or lives in Delhi. So you can write or instead of and it will show you the result of either Delhi or Ram. Then suppose you want the rows with the roll numbers 3, 2, and 1 in that order. So you can write select from student where roll number in 3, 2, 1. Okay. Or if you want to find the range, you can write select from a student where roll number between 1 and 4. It will show all the results between 1 and 4. Okay. Now suppose your table has row numbers like 5, 6, 9, 11 instead of a sequential order like 4, 5, 6, 7. So you can write between instead of you can write between like for select from student where roll number between 4 and 11. The query will retrieve all rows within the range, including the scattered values like 5, 6, 9, 11, etc. Now, for using AND, it retrieves rows that satisfy all the conditions. For example, you can retrieve students living in both Delhi and Gurgaon. So you can write select from students where address equal to Goregaon and address equal to Delhi. This query won't work because it attempts to retrieve multiple values from the same column address, which is not possible. Each row can only have one value in the single column. Okay, so there is a solution to this. All right, so you can use in. Use the in clause to retrieve multiple values from the same column. Okay, so you can see here. Select from students where address in Goregaon and Delhi. So it will show all the rows where the addresses are either Delhi or Goregaon. If you want to avoid specific data, you can write not in. Okay, so here you can see you can write select from students where name not in Ramesh and Sujit. It retrieves data for all students except Ramesh and Suji. So this function is effective for larger dataset. For instance, if there are thousands of rows, manually listing other names becomes impractical. Using not in, it simplifies the query. So suppose you can also you can write combine different conditions across column to retrieve your information. Like you can retrieve data for students who lives in Gurgaon and are aged 18. So here you can see that you can write select from students where the address is Gurgaon and age is 18. This query retrieves rows based on the conditions across different columns. You can also track fraudulent users like in a database with thousands of entries, like select from a student who had name in Ramesh Sujit, then exclude fraudulent data, like select from a student who name is not in Ramesh and Sujit. So logical operators help tailor queries to retrieve precise data quickly. Use in or not in for filtering values within a column. Avoid redundant conditions and simplify queries using logical operators. Test queries on smaller datasets to ensure accuracy. So let's talk about wildcards. Wildcards are special symbols used with the like operator to search for patterns in data. So like percentage, slash, etc. are wildcards. So for percentage, you can write like R percent. It will search for the queries, the name that starts with R. So let me show you example. Here you can see the select from student where name like R. It will search for all the names which starts with R. Okay. With this, you can search for many more like name starts with H, or names ending H, or names containing A anywhere. Okay. Now let's show you what is underscore. Underscore represents a single character. For example, a name with exactly three characters. You can like select from student where name like Ram underscore. Okay. So it retrieves names like Ramesh where middle characters are blurry. So if you select if you write Ram and give space and underscore, it will show you the names of the names starting with Ram. So here we can see that Ramesh is showing because it starts with Ram. So percentage is used for zero or more characters, and the underscore is used for exactly one character. So logical operator like must always be used with wildcards. Now you can write comments on SQL, which can be single line comments or multi-line comments. For single line comments, you can use double hyphen followed by your comment. For example, you can write double hyphen, this is a single line comment, then uh, finish it. There is also multiple line comments. To do this, you have to write slash, then to start and star and slash to end the comment. For example, here you can see I have written the comment by starting with slash and star and ending with star and slash. Now, there are many different arithmetic operations like um, addition, subtraction, multiplication, then division. In order to calculate total marks of students, like math plus science, it can be total marks. And for average, you can write math plus science divided by 2, which can show the average marks. So imagine you have a table named students. If you want to find students whose age is not equal to 18, what did you do? Think back to algebra. Remember that not equal symbol in SQL it represents as exclamation mark equals or double. Here's how you write a query for this. Here you can see that I have written select from student where age not equals to 18. It will show the results of the student where age is not 18 are retrieved. Simple, right? Now exclude a specific student. Say Ram. If you want data for everyone except Ram, you can use the not in operator. Okay, so you can select from students who are name not in Ram. It will show the student. Alternatively, you can also write not equal to operators like this. So, like from students who are name not equal to Ram. Both queries will yield the same results. Now, what if you want to find students older than 18? So here's the query for it. Here you can see select from students where age is greater than 18. If you want to show who are students who are 18 or older, you can use this one, age greater than equals 18. It will show the results of the student which are aged 18 or more than that. Now let's arrange our data by age in ascending order. Okay, so you can use the order by clause. So here you can see I have written select from students where age greater than equals 18, order by age. So it will order by default order by sorts in ascending order. If you want to use descending order, you can write DSC at the end instead of ASC, or if it's not there, you can just write the DSC. Now, what if you want data for students 20 years old or younger? So here's the query. Okay. Here you can see that I've written select from students where age less than equals 20. So it will show the students information of them which are aged 18 or less than that. Sorry, 20 or less than that. Okay. And if you want this data sorted in descending order by age, you can write add order by age descending. It will show the opposite one. So that wraps up the arithmetic operation. Now let's move on to the aggregate function. This function helps us gather insights like counting rows or finding duplicates in a column. Imagine your database is nearing its capacity, or your lead asks for specific stats. These functions are your go-to tools. So to count rows in a table, you can write select count and star inside bracket from student. It will show you the rows from the student and count it. Here you can see six. If you want to count rows based on a specific column, for example, duplicates in roll number column. So you can write the queries like select roll number, count from students. So you can write select count roll number from students. It will show you the roll number count of all the students. Or you can write select roll number, then count from students. Then you can use group by roll number, having count greater than 1. This query groups data by roll number and shows rows with duplicates. Remember, mastering these queries is crucial. Push through challenges, manage your time wisely, and make consistent efforts. Such demands are dedication. Like this, you can use count total rows to retrieve the total number of rows for all columns in a table. So you can write select count from table, the table name. Like if you want to see count the student table, you can write select count from student. The star indicates all columns and it returns the total number of rows in the table. Then to count rows for a specific column, provide the column name inside the parenthesis, the count function. Like select count, then inside the bracket you can write column name from the table name. If you want to select count the roll number, you can write select count roll number from students. Now to calculate average of values in a numeric column, use the AVG function. So you can write select AVG for a. If you want to average age of the student, you can write age from student. It will average all the students' age and show you. Like here, you can see 18.667 are the students' average age. Okay. Then if you want to average the roll number, it will show you also the roll number, which is 2.5. So the average is equal to sum of all values plus total number of values. For example, the average of 2, 3, 4, 6, 8 is 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8. Then divided it by 5. So it is 4.6. To find the highest value in a numeric column, you can use the max function. For example, if you want to highest value of age from students column, you can write select max age from student. This retrieves the oldest age among the students. And if you want to delete, if you want all details of the students with the highest age, you can write select from student where age equal to select max age from students. This combines the max function with where clause to retrieve the details of the older student. If a company wants to find the oldest users of a particular software and their details, you can select from employees where age equals to select max age from employees. Now let's talk about nested queries. It might feel a bit tricky initially, but follow along. When you execute this, it already gives you the number, right? The max value. We have executed it separately. What we did here is use the highest value to fetch data. For example, if you don't know the specific number but use a query like max age in parentheses, it retrieves all related data for you. This is called nested query, a query inside another query. Why it is called a nested query? Because there's one query inside another, enclosed in parentheses. This approach fetches all the values you need. If you want to know the oldest students in your school and their details, a nested query will help you achieve both. Now let's apply the mean function, find the youngest student. Okay, now you can see I have written select mean and age inside bracket from a student. This gives the youngest student's age, which in this case is 18. Now we want to fetch the details of students older than the youngest. So you can write select mean age from a student, then select from a student where age equals to select mean age from a student. Here, age greater than ensures we are looking beyond the minimum value. If the table's youngest age is 15, it will exclude that and fetch older student details. So you can see here the result is shown. Now, if we need the details of students above the average age, find the average age using the AVG. Okay. So here you can see the average is shown, which is 18.667. Now, fetch the data of students older than the average age. So we can write select from students where age is greater than select average age from students. These queries are practical for sorting and analyzing age-related data. Now to fetch only the first three rows, you can use the limit clause. Okay, so you can write select from student limit 3. It will show you the first three rows. If you want these rows in descending order by roll number, You can write select from student order by roll number, and then the DSC limit 3. Okay. Now, aliases let you assign temporary names to columns for easier interpretation or readability. So, like select roll now, you can write select roll now as code from a student. So the roll now will be converted into code. Then you can write change the multiple columns like select name is first name, address as location from a student. It will change the student name to first name and addresses to location from the student. This creates temporary column names for better understanding without altering the actual table. Okay. Now to calculate the sum of age, you can write select sum age from students. It will show you the sum of all the students' age. Now for homework, you should highlight keywords, column names, and table names in a specified color. For example, red for clauses, green for tables. Then save the file as MySQL test1 and your name. Practice each queries 5 times using variations. Use different table names, values, and database. Follow tasks mentioned in the slides for every query, practice them, and save the outputs. You should submit task 1, 2, and 3 by the next week's class. Okay? For questions and confusions, feel free to contact me. So that's it for today's class. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care of yourself.